welcome to Netflix and Kill. Man, it seems like we just did this, huh, Travis?
A little bit, yeah.
So, yeah, before we get started, some behind-the-scenes stuff here. We had a little problem with our audio recording this week for Netflix and Kill, so we had to call an audible real quick and switch it up. But luckily, while we actually were gonna review a TV series this week, and it was gonna be a longer one because we were gonna review a whole season's worth of TV. Mm-hmm. But it just so happens that we were also gonna review a season's worth of TV on our regular episode with Justin because we wanted to talk about Gotham. And I figured since we lost that recording for Netflix and Kill, Gotham pretty much works.
We're just gonna switch it here, switch it there.
In fact, you know what? Gotham might actually be more fitting for Netflix and Kill. This might be a happy accident, really.
Yeah,
kismet, if you will. But
I think more people die in this show than the last several movies I've watched for this podcast.
That's just the first couple episodes. But man, who's got ham? Why, it's me, Nick, the Merc with a mic, and my fellow unapologist,
Travis.
And of course, our special guest unapologist,
Justin Zarian. And then, as I said on the Breakfast Pub, I've always got ham.
You've always got ham. I could use some more ham, to be completely honest, but, I got a couple more episodes to watch, a couple more seasons to watch. Mm-hmm. So yes, we are talking about Gotham.
I love this city, and I see it going to hell. Sometimes I think this place is cursed, but I won't let it fall apart without a fight.
Citizens of Gotham, we will not. We cannot let these killers and these robbers and these rapists and these thugs win. Not on my watch.
There is a war coming. A terrible war. There will be chaos. Rivers of blood in the streets. I know it.
That's my new partner, Jim Gordon.
You have a little danger in your eye. I wonder what you plan to do with that.
You killed people before?
That was war. This is war. We're at war.
What's your name?
My name's Bruce Wayne.
I promise you, I will find the man who did this.
I'm learning to conquer fear.
Fear doesn't need conquering. Fear tells you where the edge is.
Somebody has to take over. It might as well be me.
Gotham is on a knife edge.
This is not a city for nice guys.
Stop or I'll shoot!
However dark and scary the world might be right now, there will be light. There will be light. Bruce.
Hey, you know what? Since we got Justin on, and Justin's a pretty big fan of Gotham, correct?
Yeah, and and by saying that I'm a big fan of Gotham, I'm not going to say that it isn't flawless, because we'll get into it in the review, but there are notable flaws the show does have. But I think people are being completely unreasonable with the hatred towards Gotham, because as people and one of us have said, if you don't like Gotham, but you do like the CW shows, you're kind of being a hypocrite, because they're basically the same types of show.
I disagree with that, because I think Gotham way knows what it is more than the CW shows.
Okay, well
yeah.
We'll get right into that, because I'm very interested in having this conversation. But first off, Justin, since you are a fan, would you like to give a little bit of a rundown of season 1 of Gotham, since that's what we're talking about specifically today?
Okay, so like we said, we were talking about Fox's drama Gotham, which premiered in 2014. It was one of their big, hey, we got a superhero show just like those CW guys too. It's starring Ben McKenzie and Donald Logue as, well, not Commissioner Gordon, but Lieutenant Gordon. And then, I forget what rank, Donald Logue's character is, cause he's playing, Harvey Bullock, right?
Yeah, he's detective. He's also a detective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So, they're detectives working in Gotham, which may be the single most corrupt and evil city to ever existed, but we already knew that from reading comic books anyways. And they deal with the in and out drama because, this city is kind of on the brink of turmoil around every corner, where one of the big, threats coming up immediately in season 1 is that they're dealing with the mobs that control the city, which is the Falcone family and the Maroni family, which I forget the guy who plays Falcone, but Maroni is played by that guy who was the detective in Dexter.
That's
And I'm
where
just
I know
like,
him
"Oh, yeah."
from too. I'm glad you're I'm not the only one who sees him as that guy, as Angel from Dexter.
Yeah, I mean, after how much I started to just hate that character in Dexter, I'm just like, this guy is such a whiny little complainer.
Well, in
It
the
was
show
kind of
Dexter,
refreshing
you
to
grow
see-
to hate anyone that isn't Dexter, and then you grow to hate Dexter too.
Yeah, that's very true. But at least in this show, it's like, okay, he's not in it enough to be tiresome, because he's pretty much playing just any given gangster character.
Yeah.
But anyway, while there's also the third person jargoning for power in this is Fish Mooney, played by Jada Pinkett Smith, who is, got her two right-hand men, which is, the guy who plays Butch. I forget the actor's name. But then the breakout star of this show, Robin Lord Taylor, playing the guy who's affectionately nicknamed the Penguin in their group. And
Yes.
anyone who's read a comic book before, I'm going to say you normally would know where the story is going, but Gotham doesn't give a dang what you think about continuity.
Really doesn't.
Because they are willing to just say, you know what? Gordon and Barbara, yeah, we all know that Barbara is the wife in the comics. Not here.
so much.
But, yeah, so it's mostly just one of the things that the season did that I'm kind of glad they strayed away from in later seasons is that it was very built on the week-to-week cases of all the different crazy criminals that Gordon and Bullock fight, whether it's Fish Mooney's character, dealing with the Penguin, dealing with the Red Hood gang, all these other, very C and D list comic stories that are actually based on, original stories that nobody covers in the TV shows. And then, yeah, ultimately there's the running thread of what's the Penguin going to do? What's Fish Mooney going to do? What's going on with, the Falcones and Maroni? And yeah, it's just one big, complicated, character-driven drama, and that's kind of why I love it.
So yeah, me and Travis. Well, I mean, Travis even watched less of it than me because we just finished up season 1. Travis actually missed the first 5 episodes because I was really just watching it in the background. I finally broke down and started to watch it while I was doing other stuff. I was editing and stuff. I need to throw something on. So I decided to throw on Gotham, and then Travis, I think around episode 5.
It was the Bane episode.
Yeah, Viper. It was it didn't have Bane in it, but it was dealing with the Venom formula and whatnot. So I think he was listening while in the other room, and he was just like, he finally comes out and is like, wait, what the fuck's going on?
Just like, it just drew me in. I couldn't have, I have to know what's happening. What is going on here?
And then the next episode was dealing with a goat demon
because
spirit.
I didn't leave. I kind of just watched a few things of this. I'm like, wow, that sounds really dumb and also kind of entertaining. But meh. I went back into my room.
And so he finally came back out and was just like, okay, fine, I'll watch it with you.
Yeah, just like the goat episode happened. I'm like, I'm sorry. What?
What is happening right now? Well, you see, Travis, this is a old case of Harvey's where he fought a guy that was infested with a goat spirit, and now he thinks a new guy's infested by a goat
stop
spirit.
there. I'm just gonna sit down and watch this with you. Fuck it. Like, I couldn't even help myself. I'm like, no, I gotta see what's happening here.
So yeah, we talked a little bit about it on our regular episodes, but I wasn't super into the first couple episodes of Gotham.
I didn't watch them.
It's a slow start. It's a slow start, to be fair.
I wasn't super impressed with all they felt like they had to force feed all the cameos in existence because they had Pamela Isley, Penguin, Riddler, and all these characters just jammed into even the first episode. I'm like, guys, pace yourselves. But then yeah, right around 6 or 7 episodes in, it starts to jump 2 or 3 sharks an episode, and I'm kind of like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's go all in. So we were talking a little bit about this compared to some of the other CW shows, and this is in its own universe. It has nothing to do with it. It's its own continuity.
Yep. It's an Elseworlds, it's very much an Elseworlds comic brought to life.
And they decided to just kind of go with it, and if you take it as that, you can have some serious fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think what really started to sell me on it was, of course, Robin Lord Taylor as Penguin and his interactions with people like Fish Mooney, who's played by Jada Pinkett Smith, who's another gangster character in there, and Penguin also interacts with Maroni and Falcone. And what's great about, especially with Maroni and Fish's characters and Penguin's, is that everyone overacts all the time.
Yes.
Everyone is at
They are there to chew the scenery.
everyone is playing it at 11 at all times.
Well,
And
that's because this show is at 11 to begin with. Like, just everything about the show is at 11. You know, on a production level, on a writing level, on an acting level. They're just fitting the scenery as it is. Pretty much.
And why I think this really works for me anyway, because if someone were to come up and go like, I don't watch Gotham, I watched an episode of Gotham and it was stupid, I can't really refute that.
Nah.
Because a lot of stuff in Gotham that happens doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, in fact, a lot of it doesn't make sense. But for whatever reason, it totally works for me because the show seems to know what it is at all times. And and why I think that I actually think Gotham, at least from what I've watched so far, is better than I would say most seasons of Arrow now at this point.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe not the first and second seasons of Arrow, but definitely season 3.
Well, let's put it this way. You had to basically sit me down and make me watch Arrow. And as soon as you stopped doing that, I stopped watching it.
Well, you actually did watch seasons 1 and 2 almost by yourselves, right? And then I sat you down and finished 3. That's where I got you to finish 3.
It was still pretty much you making me watch it. Whereas this show, literally, you were watching it in the background. I was like, okay, I gotta watch this.
No, I remember you watching like season 2 by yourself, but then season 3 I had to come sit down and finish it with you. And then I remembered that, oh yeah, especially season 3 of Arrow thinks that it's more important or better than it is. And that you're supposed to take things way too seriously in Arrow. Even though they make Malcolm Merlin head of the king of or of the League of Assassins, and you're supposed to go, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And not go, oh, I guess all the characters in Arrow have brain damage. So
I forgot what happens when you put him in charge of anything.
Everyone in Arrow has micro amnesia when it comes to Merlin's character and a lot of other characters too.
Yeah.
Of just like, I guess I will forget that you've at almost every turn betrayed me, that no deal we've ever made has worked out, and I guess I'll make another deal with you.
Yeah.
And in this show, it's just a lot more consistently ridiculous to the point where it's like, yeah, don't take us seriously. There's a dude that waddles like a penguin in every scene. We're not here for you to take us seriously.
And yet at the same time,
and that
I'd
one,
actually
at least No, go ahead.
No, go for it. What was that, Justin?
Oh, I was going to say the waddling thing, at least there it's not as goofy as, say, like, Danny DeVito's Penguin in the Tim Burton movies. It's like, here, you at least, it seems plausible that, yeah, he has a bad leg and a limp, that's why he waddles. But, yeah, it is goofy looking when you see it happening on screen, but it didn't feel as goofy as, say, a human-penguin hybrid, doing it.
Yeah. But
With flippers for hands.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways,
so, at the same time, though, whereas I wouldn't trust half the people in the Arrow shows, if I make a deal with actually anyone in Gotham, I'd actually expect them to keep to it. That's the weird thing.
I mean, they're very likely to kill you after you make that deal.
Well, yeah, but they're probably gonna follow through on it at least.
Yeah, because I will say this about Gotham is that this show, like we were saying, it's Netflix and Kill. This show is so violent. You haven't even got to the really gruesome stuff that happens in season 2 and 3, but so far in the first season, people die regularly in the show. 2 or 3 kills, any given episode, and they're all graphic and bloody and almost laughable to a point where you're just like, okay, it's not if anyone's gonna die, it's who's gonna die and how are they gonna get it.
Well, to that point, one of the things that sold Travis, I know, was that he had to figure out why I was laughing so hard during one of the scenes in the fucking Viper episode, because the unrefined Bane formula is based off of calcium, and uses calcium so people's bone structures get weak. So one guy lifts up an ATM and literally crushes himself.
Looney Tunes
And then the show shows his feet sticking out from the ATM like a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon.
It reminded me so much of... Nick actually had to no, I gotta rewind this and show this dude. This is amazing. And I'm like, are you watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit? What are you watching here?
Fucking hilarious. I swear to God, I could not stop laughing.
I totally forgot about that, but thank you. That was hilarious.
amazing.
That
was amazing. And not only that, you didn't even get to see Balloon Man.
No.
Balloon Man, first off, so the cops in Gotham, I go back and forth with, Jim Gordon, because he's our main character. He used to be a soldier. He's very competent and badass. and then he goes back and forth on whether or not he's a good detective. Sometimes
Well, that's part. It's part of them trying to create some internal drama with him. And I mean, this guy, Ben McKenzie, he's already experienced some of this kind of stuff with like, I think he was on the OC for a long time. That was one of his big roles. So he's like, oh, of course I know how to do this kind of soapy, campy, dramatic stuff. But then, one thing I do remember about him is that he actually played Batman in the Year One animated films.
Yep.
oh, cool.
And so he has some experience with this. I think he's actually a much better fit as Gordon. But yeah, it is, that drama that you're talking about, that plays out throughout the entire show. And it's maybe one of the things I'm not crazy about as much, where it seems like they run a lot of circles with Jim Gordon's, oh, am I pushing the boundaries? Or am I sticking to the letter of the law? Am I doing this? What is right and what is wrong? Kind of thing.
Yeah, and then of course his detective skills, like at some points they're really on point, like, oh, he's actually a good detective, and sometimes he seems a little dumb.
Yeah.
The Balloon Man episode was one where it's like, in Harvey, of course, is too, it was like, they're interrogating a suspect, and it's like, oh, it seems like the perfect crime to me. All you gotta do is strap a guy to this weather balloon and he goes up the stratosphere, no body or anything, no cleanup, no evidence. And the kid sitting there goes, do you guys not know how balloons work? Like, it goes to the stratosphere and then it pops and then it comes back down. It doesn't go to like space. And I'm like, yeah, these might not be the smartest cops.
Nah.
Though that would be funny to see a bunch of balloons with dead frozen bodies orbiting around the Earth. That's just like...
I did like it because one of the bodies does fall and falls right on a pedestrian. Falls right on a woman. It's hilarious.
That was hilarious.
Great. Stupid fucking Balloon Man. And you know, this one does have more of an episodic nature, although there is a running storyline with Penguin, really. Like, if anyone has a running through narrative this whole first season, it actually is Penguin trying to scrape.
And actually, yeah, Penguin, and then the one character we haven't introduced, and that's kind of the important thing, Bruce Wayne. Like,
yeah,
there's actually, you know, that he's the other running storyline, and we only forget about it because it's clear that the show's trying to tiptoe around him at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, at least in that first season, they're like, we don't want to blow our load just yet. We want to build up, you know, all this mystery, all the other stuff in the story. But yeah, like those two are the clear, definite threads throughout this entire season.
I was going to say this because of the fact that they obviously can't go too far with Bruce Wayne's story in season 1 of a prequel show. He ends up being the most balanced character out of like all of them. Like he's the only one who's not like, you don't look and go like, you're fucking insane. And that's our Batman.
Yeah, and I really like the kid that got to play him. Like, especially as the seasons have gone along, he's really grown into the part of becoming Batman. Like, you know, all the training that goes into it. But I think he, out of everybody, seems to be, he's oddly more reasonable than almost any of the adult characters in the show.
Yeah, it helps when, like, everyone else around you is so insane.
Like, it takes Alfred, basically, to, like, beat the insanity into him.
And yeah, it does show Alfred, our new Cockney Alfred, that is pretty cool.
Hello, Master Wayne. Hello, Master Wayne. Do you want some tea? I'm going to help you train to fight bad guys, Master Wayne.
Until it eventually comes Master B.
Master B.
I'll make you a fucking crumpet. It makes me wish Bob Hoskins took a turn as Alfred. I don't know.
God.
I mean,
that would be Master Wayne.
Master Wayne, fucking amazing.
Which the guy who plays Alfred in this is Sean Pertwee, who I believe was from Trainspotting originally.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job acting wise in here. Selena Kyle actually saw the Wayne murder, so she becomes a pretty important witness character that Bruce gets to hang with. And like she's like a bad influence or whatnot. Bruce is treated more like, I'm not sure if he's supposed to be autistic or if he's kind of on the scale or whatever, but his way of interacting with other people is very like weird,
static,
and kind of like he doesn't seem to quite get like interacting with other humans quite yet. But
he did see his parents get gunned down. I think that would have a little bit of a scarring on his way that he relates to people.
Sure, but it doesn't seem like he has. I mean, at first couple episodes, he does seem like he has PTSD, but eventually he does seem like, okay, this doesn't seem like PTSD. This just seems like you don't know how social interaction works anymore. And so I'm trying to figure out what they're trying to do with Bruce's character. And it wouldn't actually make sense for him to be kind of on an autistic scale. That actually wouldn't surprise me very much to make that a trait of Bruce Wayne's.
Yeah, I mean, they make him a very no-nonsense character. Even in this first season, like, every time he is so singularly driven on whatever's on his mind that it does seem like he's kind of autistic. He kind of shuts out everything that's not whatever's most important in his life.
Yeah.
And really the only thing that's important is solving his parents' murder and, building a relationship with Alfred, more or less.
Yeah, he doesn't like, when Selina will lie to him, it's like, well, why did you do that? Like, why do you, like, he keeps asking her why she does basic stuff. And it's just very much like, well, why would you lie? And it's like, well, do I have to explain the concept of lying to you? Like I lied because, I don't know, for half a other different reasons.
Yeah, it was convenient. It was for my best interest. It was fun.
Yeah. So I think them being very polar opposites is kind of fun.
Yeah. And I think they have, like, the kid actors do have good chemistry with each other too. Like, it's like, okay, they have a good playful push me pull you kind of banter with each other.
Yeah, and Bruce is trying to investigate his parents' death, and I mean, I'm not super crazy about the Bruce and Martha or Bruce's parents' Bruce's parents' murder being a conspiracy plot. Like they've done that a couple times in the comics, and I'm kind of like, I'm not really crazy about it. I mean, for this show, we need something for Bruce to do.
Right.
So I'm not as annoyed at it as I would be by other stuff.
Because that kind of brings it to a whole entire, like, one of the issues the show would have had if they wouldn't have done that is that, yeah, the whole entire idea of, like, Bruce's parents, like, the Waynes not being able to figure out who the murderer was, it's good thematically for characters. Like, oh, that means he can never, solve his one underlying character issue. It means he's always going to be, Batman. Mm-hmm. Whereas he can't really build a show around that, unfortunately.
Yeah. And, well, that's why in most continuities, we skip this part of Batman. Mm-hmm. We don't see a lot of Batman as a kid because, well, one, you have to show Alfred kind of not being a great parent.
Yeah.
and not getting Bruce the psychological help he so obviously needs.
Nope. Kind of the opposite, actually.
Nah, let's just help him beat up his bully. That seems like a better idea. Way to go, Alfred.
I'm just saying, I want Alfred to be my dad.
You know what? I would like to have some badass traits, but I would like my dad to help me out if I twisted my ankle and I was dying in the woods.
Yeah.
I'd like him to help me out rather than sit by a fire and drink hot cocoa like an asshole.
But Nikki was okay because they watched the sunset or sunrise. So that made it better.
Tough it off, you little bitch. So, yeah, and while that's going on, I do appreciate that they actively try and show that Gotham, before Batman showed up, because even when Batman shows up, it always predicts Gotham as
kind of seedy,
a crazy place, like even when Batman is there. So I like that this show has kind of showed that, oh, you think that was bad? Mm-hmm. You should see what Gotham was like before Batman showed up.
No, like, I think one of the best scenes of showing how, like, fucked up it is when Victor Zsasz showed up in the police department.
Okay, yeah, so...
Oh, that is one of my favorite scenes in the whole series. That part when he shows up and steps on the table, just like, my name is Victor Zsasz. The way he does.
Yeah, and for those who don't know who Zsasz is, he's the guy that cuts, like, a tally mark on his arm for every kill that he gets. And he's a little less crazy in this role. Maybe we see him, earlier he's a little more stable than what I'm used to seeing him at.
He's a hitman in this show, right?
Yeah, he's one of Falcone's number one hitman. Him and his cronies of like BDSM fetish gear.
Yeah, it's always women.
Yeah, backup. I'm not sure what their deal is or why he has groupies. That seems weird. And yeah, he walks into the police station and yells at everybody to get out so that he can kidnap Gordon because he's not there to kill him. He's supposed to kidnap him. And it's like, and all the cops, they just leave.
No, at first they kind of sit around and they kind of look at each other uncomfortably. And then Gordon's like, yeah, so you're not going to do that. And then that just goes, please?
Yeah.
And then they all kind of scatter and like, holy shit, the police department just emptied of cops.
Well, look, at what point do the cops even have at that point in the show? Like, if it's that corrupt where Falcone can just empty out a police station when he needs to grab a guy out of it, what is the point of having a police station?
Because
just for appearances, I guess.
Yeah, because if you didn't have one, then like they would actually send in the state troopers and stuff, or like army reserves and find out what the fuck is going on.
I'm surprised they haven't done that yet.
Yeah,
I mean, most of the time, there's a lot of episodes where the police are chasing vigilantes who are killing people they think are bad.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, well, then you're actively working against the corruption almost. Like there's like,
corruption pays them.
I mean, I don't mean to promote the vigilantes because even they get innocent people caught up in the crossfire, but they're actively trying to do something about how shitty Gotham is, and the cops are trying to maintain the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
So really, other than Gordon, the cops are very much the enemy. Really, like they're really one of the worst parts about Gotham is that they just don't want to do their jobs when it comes to organized crime.
Yeah, and it really is personified a lot in Harvey Bullock, which, to be fair, the show has softened on him being just the a-hole cop the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
But he at least serves a good counterbalance of like, yeah, he's part of what Gotham used to be like, this very corrupt, very morally bankrupt environment. But him, kind of becoming a better cop over the course of the season is really one of the big themes of what you guys are speaking about too. Like trying to clean up the muck and clean up the grime of the city.
Yeah, it's actually a good visual representation of what's happening to Gotham.
Yeah, and what I really like about this season too is that Harvey does get better as a character, and while they never state it and they never really draw attention to it, I like to think it's because that we see an episode where Harvey was very much like Gordon in the beginning, and somewhere along the line he got as corrupt as everybody else, showing that this is probably what happens to a lot of cops that join up the force. And I like to think that Harvey was waiting for for the first couple episodes, he's waiting for the city to corrupt Jim. And for a while he thinks it has, because he thinks that he killed Penguin in the opening episode. But unbeknownst that Jim actually spared Penguin, and that's what led to a lot of other crazy happenings. And so after he figures out that no, Gordon actually was better than him, I kind of like to think that somewhere in the back of his mind, Harvey has tried to better himself, because he's like, whoa, Jim didn't let this place beat him. Mm-hmm. Maybe I didn't have to let it beat me either, sort of thing. So where he's still not like, he's still looking out for his own self-interest, but he's actually noticeably better by the end of this season.
Yeah.
And I kind of like to think that was it's hard to tell in this show what's intentional and what isn't, because there are some plot lines that seem to get dropped in and out of existence. Mm-hmm. Like Barbara drops in and out of the story seemingly at random.
It's true.
But it does seem to happen. Well, we need a little more tension in the scene. Let's have Barbara get involved in the story, and that way we have a little more tension.
Yeah.
Well, and it's part of their go for broke model. Like they're willing to just, not only are they willing to make crazy choices, but more often than not, they're willing to just stick with it. Just like, oh, we decided to break up Jim and Barbara, and decide to give them a new love interest who's never been explored in the comics. Sure, why not? And
I'm actually happy
it only gets crazier from there. Oh yeah. I love her name's Marina Baccarin, right? Who's the person who replaced her?
Oh yeah, the Anara character from Firefly.
Her. Yes.
Or as more people might know her now as the girlfriend in Deadpool.
That too.
Oh yeah, no, it's also funny too because her and Ben McKenzie actually are dating in real life, and they have a kid together. So.
Oh really?
Oh really? Oh, that's nice. Well, that explains why their chemistry is so good.
There you go.
I mean.
I'm pretty sure this show was responsible for that. So,
I mean, she did meet him. They did meet up in that episode Rogues Gallery, where Jim goes to work at Arkham Asylum. Because why not?
Because Arkham Asylum was a new set piece.
Well, that's another one where it feels like it starts after a certain while. A lot of the episodes start to feel like it could be the season finale of the first season. That whole him fighting with Falcone in the very middle of it was like episode 10 or whatever. I'm like, this feels like the season ender, and we're not even halfway through yet.
I really felt like I hope the show can keep its pace up, and it does.
Yeah, well, that part is because that was the mid-season finale. Because for those who don't know, this is technically a network show because it's on Fox, so it goes for 22 episodes a season. And episode 10 for this season was the halfway point. So they needed a big finale halfway through before they came back for the mid-season return.
And that actually goes back to, like, it is real rare that it's actually Penguin, more or less, but it goes back to the whole idea of, like, hoping that Gordon gets beaten down, where Falcone basically, like, brings him in, threatens him, and then lets him go.
Yeah.
Seemingly just because, like, it showed later that it was actually Penguin's idea, but I still think it has a lot to do with, like, the reason Falcone let it go. It's like, yeah, because eventually he will just get beaten down by Gotham.
Yeah, you're not fighting me, you're fighting the entirety of Gotham as an entity, and you're not going to win, so, like, what's the point? Like, he lets him go because he's so confident that Gotham is going to get him.
Because it has every other time. But we have not talked about probably one of my favorite characters in this show yet.
Which one is that?
Mr. Enigma.
Mr. Edward Nigma.
Oh, I love him. He's so good.
So Riddler, or Proto-Riddler, is an FBI, or no, not he's a CSI, sorry.
He's a forensics.
Yeah, he's a forensics guy. And he operates with the police department. He comes up, he yells out riddles before he gives out information. No one seems to like him, at all.
Gordon seems to kind of like him because he's useful.
Yeah, it's interesting how they shit on him constantly, even though he gives out reliably good information all the time.
Then again, these people aren't probably that interested in doing their jobs, so.
Well, I mean, if it was like real life, sorry to get dark for a minute, they would just be, there would be a couple episodes where it'd be like, yeah, but we already got the guy, so just make the evidence fit him.
Yeah.
Like in some ways, this show is
actually more optimistic.
It's actually a little more optimistic, and yeah. But sorry, if you don't think that actually happens in real life, then you're not living in the same reality that we're all living in.
You're white.
Hey, even if you are white, sometimes they'll be like, yeah, but we already got you in custody. And finding the real guy would be a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the elements that I found was very realistic with some of these lazier cops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least Gotham's corruption's fun.
So yeah, Riddler has a whole. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say the guy's name is Corey Michael Smith, who plays the Riddler. So, yeah, that guy's awesome. Please continue. I want to hear you talk about him.
So, well, I have I'll leave it to Travis. I just want to mention that he his general story arc is that he seems to be crushing on this girl that he likes, who is also works for the cops. And she seems to have like really bad taste in men.
Yeah, she only likes bad boys essentially.
Yeah, he keeps getting picked on by her boyfriends, and it kind of leads to a culmination of an episode where he finally kills a guy. But
and like has a mental breakdown.
Yeah, but like I'll leave it to Travis to describe what his how would you describe him as a character?
Largely oblivious is a very good starter because he just never he is constantly beaten down and ignored by Harvey especially. Harvey's the worst perpetrator of them, but even the police chief, she's basically Nigma, give the relevant information, then please leave. But he's just so chipper all the time. He's always so oh, I found something fun. Also, let me share this riddle with you. He's just he's constantly happy, and I'm how do you stay happy in this environment, dude? Not only are you just obviously dissecting bodies constantly, but he wasn't even allowed he's not even supposed to be the one dissecting the bodies. He sneaks into the room, cause the mortician's supposed to not let him in. And honestly, I think the biggest, this is honestly my biggest fault with season 1 of Gotham, is that him and Penguin did not share more screen time.
Yeah, I think that's going to be rectified.
Wait until season 2. Just saying.
Thank you, because that's amazing.
They get one scene together, and I think Travis was and it was love at first sight.
I think that's actually what I said.
No, don't spoil what's going to happen later on, because there's some directions that their relationship goes that you cannot predict, and it's awesome. You're just
that's amazing.
I genuinely did not see that coming.
I'm so excited for this.
I mean, I think I was when I first saw them in the police station together, I was just yeah, and I just hear 1,000 fan fictions were born on this day.
It's guarantee it.
Well, the thing about it is that, of course, he interacts mostly with the cops, so he doesn't get to interact with the gangsters, and the gangsters are where the acting is at its worst / best because everyone plays it so big. I mean, Fish and Penguin have a scene together at one point where they hate each other, but they're like in this truce. So, you know, Penguin gets her this like this brooch or whatever as a gift, and they're overacting each other so much. It's like, well, you know, I'm gonna do this thing with my hands while I'm talking. Like Fish is always she's doing a lot of stuff with her hands when she's acting. Penguin is moving his head a lot.
Yeah.
Like he's always like, you know, like he's nodding. He's like, he's moving around. And then in the middle of the scene, she stabs him in the hand for like seemingly no reason. And he has to like hold his hand up so that his men don't attack or whatever. And he's just looking at her like, this hurts right now, but I'm more mad that you would have the audacity, the gall to attack me. And then she takes the pin out that she stabbed him in the hand with, and he of course that was rude, and she licks it. She licks it. I was just like, what?
Tastes like flubber.
You know, and I gotta say about that too, that as much as I do like this show, one of the things I really did not like that first season is Fish Mooney.
Oh, really?
I get what the purpose, because I mean, I get what the purpose of her character, and she has some entertaining stuff. But in that same way that you're kind of explaining that scene, for as exaggerated as Gotham is, she feels like she's in a completely different TV show.
She does.
Like, Jada Pinkett Smith, like, everyone else is in kind of the same comic book as each other. Jada Pinkett Smith is from, like, some crazy, like, cartoon gangster show. And I'm just like, she's fine, but I don't feel like she fits as a character, as a performer, with the other actors. Like, cause everything she does, like you're saying, like, a lot of hand gesturing, a lot of, I'm gonna talk like this because I have this accent I developed from famous actresses, so I'm gonna use it very carefully.
No, I really liked Fish Mooney, partially because she's such a wild card, like, especially towards the end of the season, where just like, yeah, she can just come in and fuck up anybody's shit at any given moment, and I love it. And I also kind of love how, like, no matter what was happening throughout the whole entire, like, season, no matter what shit was going on, she always kind of had a thing for, Harvey. I just found that amusing.
Other than that first episode.
Weirdest thing.
Even her underling Butch is a fun character.
Butch is great. I love that dude.
I mean, this is a show that gets nuts enough to where her dealings get, totally undercut by Penguin himself, because Penguin is surprisingly competent at what he does.
No, he's very manipulative.
Oh yeah.
And in Penguin ultimately fucks her right over. Ultimately gets her.
No, he kind of fucks everybody over in the end.
Yeah, and she has to like
half the problems of the show would never have happened without Jim Gordon sparing him. Like if he had spared him, there would have saved a whole bunch of trouble for everybody.
Yeah, if he had done his little dirty deed and killed him, it actually would have worked out pretty well, I think, for Gotham as a whole.
Yeah, but Gotham probably still be corrupt.
Sure. I mean, now it's got all those same people in charge rather than it's just run by Penguin, I guess. Because spoilers for the end of this one. It's
Penguin comes out ahead.
Penguin comes out on top,
literally.
But yeah, this is. I mean, I like Jada Pinkett Smith in this in the fact that she is on the same level as Maroni, the actor that plays Maroni. Like when they share a scene together, they seem to be in the same show. Mm-hmm. Falcone seems to be playing it very down. Like Falcone is very interesting because he's playing it down, like he's very down to earth.
No, he's like in a very standard like mob film.
Yeah, and of course,
except
like
the chickens.
Yeah.
And when Fish has to get out of Dodge, I love the fact that her ship gets hijacked by pirates, and it's just like, and this is a show that has pirates in it now.
Like my first reaction to that was like, oh my god, please let the next episode be Fish Mooney being queen of the pirates coming to raid Gotham, because that would be amazing. Like I was ready for that show to knock it from 11 to like 20.
Well, she does take out her eye in that storyline.
Then they just need Barkhad Abdi.
She does take out her eye in that storyline, and I was just like, man, if she puts an eye patch on, I'm kind of down with this. Yar, me matey. Me be fish mooney. Man, even the name works. The dread pirate fish mooney.
Why wasn't this a thing, Gotham? You could have had it all.
But yeah, they
screw Euron Greyjoy. Fish Mooney's a scary pirate.
She is.
Screw that reek shit. But yeah, there's a lot of other people end up in the show. We have
The Crane family.
The Crane family, yeah, because we have Jonathan Crane as a younger man, and his dad is actually the one that starts to develop the fear toxin. So we have like kind of the origin, the first part of the origin of the Scarecrow. There's a couple. That one's actually
give a little preview. Just saying, we should give a preview. That does pay off later, but it is a very like blink and you miss it kind of format. We're just like, yeah, that happened, and then we won't talk about that or think about that for another season or two. So just be patient.
That's a little disappointing, but okay.
Yeah, and that was actually one of the. Sometimes the most you'll get out of this show is like a couple two-parters as far as a continuing story. Because otherwise, it's the only other continuing narrative is Bruce's investigation into what his parents are doing, and we get a lot of cameos in the Arkham Asylum episode because Jim goes to work as a security guard in Arkham Asylum for like an episode,
2 episodes. Yeah, well, let's not even forget that, like, when the show starts, Arkham isn't even, like, a thing. It's just this rundown building.
Yeah, and they decide to open it back up.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where he meets his new doctor girlfriend.
Doctor girlfriend.
I mean, it did to the point where they first met each other, and it was just like, yeah, you guys are the two most attractive people in this show.
You better fuck.
Just go ahead and fuck, because I know where this is going. And Barbara meets up has an affair with Renee Montoya for a little bit.
The female Renee Montoya.
The
female question. Sorry,
the female later in the comics she becomes the second version of the Question.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's actually cool. Like, well, now with New 52, I have no idea where she's in the continuity. Yeah. But there was a cool. There was a cool aspect where she was dating Batwoman when she was first made the Question. That was very interesting.
Nice.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. And if there was one thing I was wondering, like, I wonder why they dropped Renee from basically after the mid-season finale. She gets another episode with Barbara, and that's about it. Mm-hmm. And then she's never to be seen or heard from again. At least for this season. I don't know if she comes back. And let's see, we got, Barbara also goes back into drugs because apparently she had a drug habit before. How can I forget? We had a whole episode dealing with the Graysons.
Yes, that's what we did. Oh my god. That one was so dumb.
That one, okay, yeah, yes. So
there were a few episodes from season 1 I totally forgot. So, yeah, that was one of them I forgot about.
The blind fortune teller, that's what it was. So, yeah, get this. That episode is about a long-running 100 years feud between a clown family and an acrobatic family. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that there's a big feud between that one and, of course, the acrobatic family is the Graysons, and they have the snake charmer has been murdered. The snake charmer's mom is Jerome's mom. And Jerome seems to be their version of the Joker?
I have no idea.
Their proto-version of the Joker? I'm not 100% on it. What's that?
I'm just going to say this.
It's just, yeah.
I'm not going to spoil... Yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything with that. I'm just going to say he maybe has... he does come back in both season 2 and 3. And he has maybe some of the very best episodes of the whole show.
All right.
Okay.
So just you wait. Because it is a weird thing where it's like, that's a weird bomb to drop at the very end of that episode. But then when you see him come back, it makes total sense. You're like, oh, this is what they were planning with that.
Yeah, anyway, and they release the snake in order for the snake
No. Gordon releases the snake.
Yeah, so that the snake can lead them to its owner, the dead body, because snakes have very good senses of smell. And I'm like, that doesn't make them a fucking bloodhound. That's not how fucking snakes works, Gotham.
Again, like, the show shows, Jim Gordon being a mostly intelligent man most of the time.
Well, it's
and
like
stuff like this.
I mean, it's hard to be the dumbest episode of Gotham, but the circus episode is the dumbest episode of Gotham.
I think it is.
And it's still super entertaining to watch because even then they have like, once you think it can't get crazier, the fucking blind fortune teller comes on with them from a message from the grave. It'd be like, oh yeah, the murder victim told me who the killer is. Mm-hmm. And then you think it can't get crazier from there. And then like, no, actually it was the Joker, Proto-Joker was the killer. And he dropped that at the end and he gets like this weird multiple personality drop. And I was just like,
yeah.
Wait, what?
And not only that, they also pulled the Murray Povich thing with like, oh, by the way, I'm your father with the fortune teller.
It's like, what? Yeah, and then of course by the end of it, John and Grayson and what's her name, Mary get together and it's like, man, thank you for what you said. It ended our at least our feud, so we decided to get together.
And I think I did call that in the episode too. Where I was just like, as soon as I started showing those characters like fight constantly, I'm like, what are Robin's parents' names?
Yeah, maybe when we have a son, maybe we'll call him Gordon.
And everyone's like,
No, we'll name him something. We'll name him something less ridiculous. How about Dick? Dick seems good. And I'm just,
good.
It was at that point I'm like, okay, not everything has to be a goddamn origin story, Gotham.
No, it really doesn't.
But yeah, we even Poison Ivy is in this season for a little bit. She doesn't really do a whole lot.
Except be really creepy at times.
Yeah. Selena seems to be going through some stuff. Like she becomes the kind of a straight up villain near the end. They even introduced the Red Hood concept of a bunch of people wearing the Red Hood.
Which was funny.
Yeah, I really liked that episode a lot. It was a fun spin on the Red Hood idea where it's like, no, there's not one Red Hood. It's almost a curse. Like anyone who wears that mask, they're really, really good for a little bit of the crime and then they die. I thought that was a really clever spin.
Yeah, it was interesting. I wonder if they'll work that in later episodes or something, because it seemed kind of an interesting thing to just kind of drop. But I mean,
you'll see.
I mean, I'm interested to see what season 2 is going to be like if it does follow more of a structured story, story thing, and not episode of like monster of the or serial killer of the week kind of thing. I'm also interested to see what third tier D-list characters they bring on.
Like how he's extending this.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's the electrocutioner. And I'm just like, okay, I barely know who the electrocutioner is. So I know no one watching this is basically going to know who that is.
Nope.
Yeah, no, they started softballing with this season because they didn't want to spoil all their best villains later on. It's like, okay, we'll build up to the Joker or build up to this character. So who do we have in here? Balloon Man, Electrocutioner, all this.
Balloon Man. He kills people with balloons. Because that's what we had for villains.
I want to see them bring in Calendar
Man.
They need to bring in Calendar Man. That'll be amazing. Yeah.
Maybe Sportsmaster. It's the discount Casey Jones going here. But yeah, the acting is very fun to watch. The design is actually super cool. Mm-hmm. Like everything is kind of in this weird color. Everything is in this weird color palette, but it's not like washed out colors.
No.
Everything does pop.
It's very Tim Burton Batman. Like it's very Art Deco, very yeah. And that's what I was saying. Like one of the single best things about this show is the way it looks and its design. Like it's got great sets, it's got great cinematography, great sound, visual effects. Like they really pulled out the stops with the budget on this.
It's also in some indeterminate time period.
Oh yeah, I have no idea when it's in its own alternate reality where somehow they don't have the internet or even seemingly computers, but they have flip phones.
Yes.
Like, I'm just like, wait, so they have cell phones, but they don't have, like, basic, like there. I think we saw one TV that's like a box TV. Like their security camera footage is always in black and white on VCR, and it's like,
But they have flip phones.
but they have flip phones. I'm like, when is this? When are you, Gotham? When are you? Everyone dresses and talks like they're from the 50s. It's like, what is going on?
I mean, they have circuses.
Harvey rocks that fedora.
Yeah, well, everyone wears fedoras. Everyone's dressed like it's a 50s. Everyone's dressed like it's a 50s. A 50s show. The technology is from like an early 70s show, except for the communication, the cell phones, which are from like early 2000s probably.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just don't like, it's just this mishmash of just like whatever.
It fits Gotham though.
Like even when they describe like, oh, well, who, like, this case, when was it? Oh, it was this many years ago. I don't think they ever, like, ascribe a date to anything.
Nah.
Like,
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
but yeah, I'm really interested to see where this goes.
Like, I think even, like, Alfred talks like, I was in the war. I'm like, which war? Like,
I was in the war. I was in a war. I was like, yeah, but like which, like,
Vietnam or, like, World War I, or where are we going here? Revolutionary? Come on now.
He was a part of the SAS, so I'm guessing it was one of the world wars.
Yeah.
That's my best guess.
That's not going to give us much of a time period. Like, it's after the 40s. Yay.
Or maybe it's a whole new war in this whole other universe. It was just like,
I don't know.
But yeah, it was definitely fun. I don't know, it feels weird giving it a rating because I just don't. Again, I get why people would not like this show. If you are into the canon of Batman and feel like you are only accepting of certain changes and gradual changes to characters, you might not be a fan of this because
well, yeah, if you're a purist, be that way.
Because they radically, change a lot of characters. Penguin is like no other version of the Penguin you have ever seen.
But hey, as of season 1, Batman hasn't murdered anyone.
He is not. He is not. So he's got that one up on Zack Snyder. I gotta say that I'm gonna rate this a 4 out of 5. Penguin waddles. 4 out of 5 penguin waddles. Yep. It is very fun. You have to be kind of on board to really get into it. I understand if it's not your type of show. But I gotta tell you, it's entertaining. If you let yourself go for the ride, it's hard not to have fun while you're watching it. Mm-hmm. Justin, what do you think?
Yeah, and I've been talking a lot, and I've been getting very excited this recording because I really don't have many people to talk about Gotham with. This is actually very gratifying. But yeah, I mean, it took me a long time to get into this show because, yeah, I mean, I heard everyone complaining, loudly about the first season, just like, oh, it's so stupid, it's over the top, it's insane. I even had a discussion about it like last week with another guy who was just like, it's so inconsistent, and it doesn't feel like they know where they're going with this. And I won't totally disagree with that. I think it's way too expensive a show for them to have things happen by accident, because it's like, yeah, if you're going to commit that much money into the art and visual design before you shoot the episode, you better have a good idea of what you're doing to use those dollars. I would say, at least. But having said that, I do really enjoy this on that same level that people enjoy CW, which I do like the CW shows overall, but I think I have more fun watching this because the CW shows all feel they kind of hit their strides where it's just like, yeah, you kind of expect an episode of Flash to go like this, or you expect an episode of Arrow to go like this. Gotham constantly just does whatever. And that's kind of why I like watching it more, because it's more artfully composed in its imagery, and it's more brave in its narrative, I think. It's more brave to just say, yeah, we're going to go there and do anything we want with this story. Having said that, I will fully admit, after watching seasons 2 and 3, Season 1's very much the weakest season, I think.
Well, that's
wow.
exciting.
And
I'm super excited to watch season 2. Man, that makes me super excited then.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, like, season 2 and 3, like, they're not flawless either. There's at least one thing early on in season 2 that I wasn't crazy about, but they actually turned around and rectified it to being one of my favorite parts of that season. And I won't spoil what. You'll see what happens. But, I did really like, I think this first season, the best thing that they could have done for the show was to get rid of the villain of the week arc. Cause that stuff led to some of those weaker episodes, like the circus family, and I really didn't care for the Balloon Man episode or the Goat episode, to be honest. They were all just kind of, I mean, other than those really hilarious death scenes.
Well, that one really,
they just felt like they were filling time.
The one with the goat really kind of ended just kind of like, nowhere else. It's like, oh, it's a psychiatrist. I'm going to shoot her in the leg. Like, all right.
It had a very anticlimactic ending.
Yeah, it's kind of very abrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that either. But otherwise, I think this show, like I said, it's beautifully shot. It's very well acted. I mean, like, even some of the actors who I think are not the best actors, they're still on a consistent level of that over-the-top, campy fun acting that I would take over a lot of the really bad actors on the CW. Where it's just like, yeah, these guys are good except for these dudes who are just, average Joes taken off the street to play characters. And also the fact that they're not all supermodels like the CW shows. Because they have quite a wide variety of people. Mm-hmm. So I say, really, yeah, like, okay, fine. If this show is really not for you, who am I to stop you? If you really just do not like it, I don't blame you. But I would say, like, just like Nick was kind of saying, give it a few episodes to really gel together, because they do a lot of piece setting early on. But it really pays off. And especially the further you go into each season, they really tie back things you weren't even thinking about. Like, again, the guy who plays in the circus, they reference the Red Hood gang later on. They reference all these other things later on, and they foreshadow a lot that will come up in the story. And they really, really just are so entertaining to watch. And if you just want to watch straight up violence, there is more than enough violence in the show to make you satisfied.
Yeah,
so I'm
at the mid-season finale, Jim Gordon decides, I'm just going to take a shotgun. And just takes a shotgun.
Where do you get that assault rifle? I was just wondering where they got that.
So I'm going to give this show 4 out of 5 people reassembled to be half man, half ladies.
Oh, Lord, why?
That was super weird.
Dolmacher.
I was like, I don't even know what the point of that experiment was. Like a doll maker.
It was super creepy.
That was,
but I will say too, though, the dollmacher, that was kind of silly also, but as goofy as she is, I really like, I think it's Carol Kane who plays Penguin's mom, where it's like, oh yeah, no, she's kind of this doddering old lady with dementia who, she's very sweet, but kind of crazy. And then when they ask her early on, it's just like, oh, Miss Cobblepot, right? And like, no, I'm from Germany, so it's Kabbelput. I always thought that was kind of funny. Kabbelput.
Mm-hmm. I do like what your analysis for the CW shows. I do like that Gotham is not afraid to be ugly a little bit, and I think the you can't tell what a show is going to do next if the show itself doesn't really know what it's going to do next. And
predict me now, bitch.
I mean, and I like that, and I feel like what Arrow and Flash season 3 especially were suffering from is just the fact that they recycle CW plots of like, how many episodes of Arrow fit the mold of I have a secret. One of the team members has a secret that they can't tell the team, usually Oliver. And suddenly they get revealed, and now we don't know if we trust them anymore.
I pretty much hear the CW voice going like, next week on Arrow, a team member has a secret they can't reveal. Will it tear the team apart?
Oh my god, I can't believe you lied to me. Really? Like the last 17 times this season? You really can't believe that I lied to you again? Maybe we're not the best friend, the best people to be working together. So yeah, I like that. But Travis, what'd you feel about the season 1 of Gotham?
Well, I'm pretty much like a perfect example of like, if you don't think you're gonna like this show just based off what you heard of it, give it a shot anyway.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I basically didn't even have an opinion one way or the other of the show. Like, I knew of its existence. I'm like, it's a Gotham prequel. That's already a dirty word. Let's face it. Prequel's a dirty word. It's a Batman prequel without Batman, setting Gotham, and it's on Fox.
Yeah.
That's a lot of tallies against the show already. Like, let's face it.
Does not inspire confidence.
It really doesn't. And I didn't ever think of it one way or the other. Like, I remember us talking about once where it's like, that sounds stupid? That kind of sounds stupid. And that was all I ever heard of it. Where,
hey, you want to watch a Batman show that doesn't have Batman in it?
Not really.
Not really.
No. I have better shows to watch. That's what I would just pretty much thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nick had a thing where just like, oh yeah, I've been hearing people talk about Gotham lately, so I might give it a try. I'm like, okay, so is this gonna be like, try as in you're gonna watch an episode or two and then kind of decide not to? Or is it gonna be try like, Angel, where it's gonna be like, watching season 1 for like 6 months and then watch all of it in 6 days? Like, which one is it gonna be?
No,
And it was more like Angel.
no, it was like it took me a little while to get through the first couple episodes, but after like episode 5 when we started
After I
watching,
joined in.
after you joined in, it was just like, man, this is a fun fucking ride to just run through.
Mm-hmm. This show it is so much fun to watch, especially if you don't take it seriously, because how can you? The show itself doesn't take itself seriously. All the characters and their interactions are hilarious, and I think it is partially because, like you guys were talking about, how it is kind of ugly at times, and the characters just, even sometimes they don't gel with each other, and it's hilarious to watch them just kind of butt heads. But we see some, like, really great interactions where, like, Selena Kyle and Pamela Isley just start crashing at Barbara's apartment when she's not there because no one's living in this apartment, and like Gotham's apparently filled with nothing but like abandoned high rises or something.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like
apparently.
literally crashing her house. She comes home and she's like, all right, I guess I got roommates. That's it. Like, she just accepts that she has 2 pint-sized roommates from now on. Doesn't question it. I don't think she ever even asks. It's just like, nope, this is a thing.
Well, I think she just goes like, oh wait, was this in the script? All right. Well, I guess the writers have decided that you are my roommates now.
Yeah.
So
it
I will
becomes
not.
like some kind of weird sitcom, and I just kind of love it.
So I will not question this in any way.
I feel like that's the best way for this actress to do it, just never question any of this shit. Unlike Justin, I actually really liked Fish Moody, because I think she just added that extra level of craziness to the show that just, you can never go with, more crazy, let's face it. Overall, though, I'm gonna have to dock it a few points, the fact that I didn't watch those first 5 episodes, and I don't actually feel like I missed much.
No.
Like, I basically had to go through the first episode with Nick, like, okay, who's this, and this? Got it. I'm good to go.
Yeah,
So
you don't miss much. There's a few details, but yeah, they're not important. So
Yeah. Like, the fact that you guys talked about how it's like, oh, Gordon's military. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that, because I don't think it was ever brought up in the later episodes.
Yeah, they rarely ever bring up his military background. They actually bring up Alfred's military background way more.
Yeah. So, I think I'm gonna have to give season 1 of Gotham a 6 out of 10. Like, it's a hot mess, but it knows it, and it accepts that. And I think we can all learn a little bit from Gotham.
Hot mess, emphasis on the hot.
Got hot ham.
Got ham. So I know we already spoiled a lot of season 1 a little bit, but we are going to take a small musical break and go into a spoiler section because I want to talk about the season finale for a little bit. Because I kind of want to. I find it very interesting in a way. So we're gonna take a small musical break, and we'll be back right after this.
Yo, Ed,
What's up?
tell him where you're from.
Straight out of Gotham. Just a crazy ass Riddler. More banks I rob, yo. My posse gets bigger. I'm a bad supervillain, and you know this. But still, you think my methods are bogus? Well, riddle me this. What has 4 legs and flies? Batman and Robin when they meet their demise. Try to solve my puzzles in a minute. I play every game to win. And so I win it. I know you all see this, and I mean this. Eddie Nigma is a criminal genius. You might wonder why I leave clues behind. Fuck you, that's the way my shit's designed. Batman don't even got a clue. And if he tried to front you, his ass be through. Look, you might think I'm starting to slip, but a riddle like me is on a gangster tip. Straight out of Gotham. Gotham.
City of Gotham, City of Gotham.
And welcome to the spoiler section for Gotham. And just want to talk a little bit about the season finale.
The Emmy winning Gotham now.
Does it win an Emmy?
Remember we talked about it in Breakfast Pub. It won, the 3rd season won an Emmy for visual effects.
That's right. I totally forgot about that. I guess I marked it on the same file in my brain that knows that Suicide Squad won an Oscar.
Yeah, don't remind me of that, please. Like, I can accept Gotham winning an Emmy because fine.
I'm just saying Gotham has more Emmys than any CW show now. So there you go.
Fair enough. That is statistically accurate.
So yeah, I just want to talk about a little bit of how season 1 ends. But first we got to set up the fact that Penguin is a double agent for many sides, apparently. He was working for Maroni, seemingly against Falcone, until it's revealed later that it was actually a setup that he planned from the beginning to, like...
He talks his way out of his own death so many times.
It does feel like a rewrite all of a sudden, where Penguin is like, they show a flashback of Penguin going, hey, let Jim Gordon kill me because he might be one of the only people that wouldn't kill me. Like, well, why would I do that? And like, oh, so I can work for Maroni and spy for you. And it's this really long con that it's like, it doesn't quite make sense because it hinges on the fact that Jim won't kill Penguin.
Yeah, but also if you look at it from Falcone's perspective, that's a win-win.
Sure, but for Penguin, it's kind of like, for a gambit of him, if for his, it feels like that was a long shot.
Yeah, but still, it's like either that or, you know, a certain death. So,
but it does feel like, you know, Penguin does feel like he owes Jim a little bit, and he does feel like Jim is his friend.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he definitely thinks that,
which is put to the test near the end because Penguin decides to pit Maroni and Falcone against each other. Finally kick off this war that's been brewing. By totally screwing over some assassins that he threw at Maroni.
Mm-hmm.
I
feel bad for that guy.
Yeah, that just sucked. That just sucked for those guys, who are probably really awful people that murder people for a living.
Yeah.
But still. And so, yeah, and this comes after that Penguin is found out by Maroni, has had to dodge murder attempts by both Fish and Maroni. Suddenly he kickstarts the war, and Falcone actually gets almost blown up by a fucking rocket launcher.
Mm-hmm.
He comes into the hospital bed and is like, yeah, well, I just wanted to let you know that I was the one that set all this up, even though I didn't really have to tell you this. In fact, works against me if someone were to interrupt me right now while I'm about to kill you. Oh, hey, Jim.
What you doing
God
here?
damn it. Just fuck. Oh yeah, and Butch is working for Penguin now because Zaz messed with his brain. Show is nuts. But yeah, Fish comes back in this boat. We haven't seen her in a couple episodes. Last episode we saw, she was shot in a helicopter. Suddenly she shows up with a whole bunch of people in a goddamn boat.
That's just some kind of messiah now.
Yeah, with her new hairstyle.
No, and after she screwed over her own team back on the island, just like, hey, I'll meet you guys in the boat. Just kidding.
Yeah, apparently they found another boat. And yeah, the rest of the city decided, you know, like, Falcone's out, and Jim Gordon is the only one left going, like, Falcone's the only one who can keep this town together and keep it to where it's not chaos on the street. So he's forced to try and rescue Falcone, which leads to a bunch of random, like, them being captured, let go, captured again, breaking out.
It's like big long Scooby-Doo-esque scene.
Well, they break out Falcone and be like, okay, so you can get this shit under wraps again. And it's like, yeah, I can totally do that. But we gotta take Penguin and Butch with us, because Penguin's like, hey, you owe me that goddamn favor, right? Remember those favors I did for you? Calling them in right now, so you can't let me die. And he's like, God damn it, alright. I guess we'll take you along with too. They get captured by Fish. And Fish is like, well, I've been through enough, so I pretty much gotta murder all of you. I think she's gonna let Harvey go, though, right?
Yeah, because she likes him.
Yeah, she said Harvey.
It's like, don't worry about you, honey. We're cool.
Selena's working for Fish for apparently no reason. I don't know. That seemed weird.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense at all, to be honest. That was one thing I wasn't crazy about, which they thankfully change in the next season. So
yeah,
it seemed like a total switch on her character that they didn't really show at all.
It feels like they wanted her involved in the finale in some way.
Yeah,
and they didn't know how to do it. And you know, I like that Jim tries to get her to help. Like, hey, you want to help me out with this? Like, oh, because we kind of know each other. You want me to help you out? Like, yeah,
yeah, that's
kind of exactly. It's kind of exactly what I want. But apparently you're not going to do it, you little bitch.
He kind of does that a lot to her, just like, yeah.
I mean, it's, and then of course Maroni shows up, and Maroni and Fish have the conversation of like, well, yeah, we're partners as long as I'm partner number 1 and you're partner number 2.
Babe.
Like, you know how it works. Like, and Maroni is antagonizing Fish for like almost no reason. Like, there's not really like, hey, you know, Fish is still got a lot of people here.
Mm-hmm.
She's still like, and she does have a lot of power in this situation. If you don't want to mess with her that much, but no, Fish plugs him in the head.
Yeah, we're just like, at that point it became like, oh, thank God. He was just, his whole bit like went on a little too long where I'm like, okay, I would have killed him at the like second time, let's face it. Like, he just got really annoying.
Mm-hmm. And then Falcone and Gordon get away long enough for Falcone to go like, well, you know, I think I'm done with this game. I'm going to retire. And I just want to be with Gordon going like, the whole point of me rescuing you was so that you could keep Gotham under control. There's really no point in me doing all this if you're just going to go fuck off.
Yeah, it's basically you're useless to me now.
And of course, they get recaptured until Penguin shows up with a fucking machine gun.
That he does.
And it's I don't know, it's just crazy. Him and Fish have this final face-off on the roof because, of course, even though they're in a sub-basement building, they have to fight up near a roof over water some crazy how. I don't know. They have a final fight scene where, like, and Butch has to decide between them, like they're both, like, he doesn't know which one to shoot, like it's an old sci-fi film where one of them's a robot duplicate. I don't know which one to shoot. So he decides to split the difference and shoot both of them in the leg or something.
Yeah. How's that limb now?
And then Penguin finally pushes Fish Mooney off the ledge into the water, which means we will never see her again. Nope, siree. She's for sure deadsies, for reals.
Though not, it's not what you think. Let me just say that.
Oh, okay. I mean, I do love that Penguin jumps up on top of the ledge of like, I'm king of Gotham. I wanted Butch to push him so hard.
I was like, Penguin, maybe with like your whole fact that you already have a limp and you've been shot in the leg, maybe you shouldn't stand on the ledge.
I mean, I do like the fact that Penguin came out on top. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was really funny. And let's face it, out of all the characters, he's the one that put the most work into his schemes. He was the one that he showed that he wanted it.
Oh yeah, he wanted it.
Barbara goes nuts.
Yeah,
because Barbara.
We can talk about that episode.
Barbara spent the previous 2 episodes in the clutches of the Valentine or the Valentine's Day killer or something. Forget his
which is being played by the dad from This Is Us, Milo Ventimiglia. So
yeah. I recognize them as one of the characters from Heroes. I always forget which one he is. It's
Peter. Yeah, who's Peter on Heroes.
Yeah. And I do like that Barbara has gone nuts because I thought like that would be a way for them to like, oh, Barbara was captured and it proves that Jim still cares about her. So that way Monica, Dr. Leslie or whatever, his new girlfriend, can kind of go off into the sunset and him and Barbara can be together. And it totally doesn't do that. In fact, Barbara tries to kill his new girlfriend.
Yeah.
And Barbara just goes absolutely insane, which is interesting. I hope we get some cameos with her and maybe Arkham Asylum. Like, that would be kind of neat.
Oh, no. Dude, you don't even know. They get a lot of mileage out of Barbara coming up.
That's amazing.
Just you wait.
I do want to see how eventually Jim's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to name my daughter after that woman. Because right now, I can't quite see it.
A little crazy.
Can't quite see it. Yeah, what else happened? Like, Jim is president of the police union, seems to be working his way up, not commissioner yet, but he is working his way upwards in the police hierarchy.
Oh, I guess the point where he starts just actively threatening to kill the current commissioner.
He did get to that point, yeah.
Well, that dude who was playing Loeb was pretty dickish the entire time.
Yeah.
I mean, it got to the point where he had some leverage on Loeb, but he never got a chance to use it, which was weird. It was just like, hey, remember how I let you still be commissioner because I had leverage over you to get some stuff done. Well, it was weird how the show never really dealt with that. Maybe they'll deal with that in the next season. But I felt like that was a big win for Gordon that I felt like kind of like didn't matter near the end. I thought that was weird because that was one of his big character wins, was that like, yay, I finally have some leverage to do some good stuff in Gotham, and now that leverage seems to not be worth whatever it is he paid for it. But did we want to mention anything else in the spoiler section? Justin, do you have anything?
That's most of what happens, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of...
That's most of what happens.
Yeah, I did have... I did pretty much, cliff notes it. That's pretty much it. I'm interested in what happens with Fish again. Like, maybe she'll wash up in the same island. That would be hilarious to me. Damn it! Why does, like, all tides just lead to the Dollmaker Island? Like,
I mean, if you want to collect body parts, that'd be a good place to do it.
Oh, and was it just me, or was the catcher there? Was he a version of the rat catcher? I don't know.
Probably. I mean, who knows in this universe, but...
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting, because they did make a big point of, like, I'm the catcher, and I'm like, that's a lame name. Wait, are you the rat catcher? That's odd. I wonder if Falcone will come back, because that was interesting to have his actor kind of like just, go off into the distance.
Right.
I'm wondering how that, like, if they given him license to just show back up whenever he wants to. I want to see what Penguin is like now that he's on top. I feel
how he's actually gonna run shit.
Well, when he's a great schemer, but the point where he started to run even the club, he couldn't even run the club right.
No, they had to send Butch to help him.
Yeah. So I'm wondering how he's going to manage a whole fucking criminal organization. I'm interested to see how Riddler handles, his first murder. I love that even in his first murder, he couldn't resist putting a damn clue in there.
He had to. It's like, the first letter of all of these sentences spell your name. Huh, weird. Like, yeah, that's really weird. Why would you do that?
Well, I do like it.
They get a lot out of the Riddler. Like, they get a lot of mileage out of him too. So I can't wait to talk about that with you guys, because I think him and Penguin may be my favorite parts of this whole show.
I mean, they do get right what I like about the Riddler and all the continuities of Batman is that Riddler is
he just can't help himself.
The Riddler is the dumbest smart person you will ever know. He is.
Oh yeah.
He is so ridiculously smart. Except for the fact that he can't help but do the one thing you're not supposed to do in a crime in which he intentionally implicates himself.
Yep. It's like, why'd you leave a clue? Yes, why did you leave a clue?
No, I want to see Will Smith from iRobot just go like, you are the dumbest smart person I ever known.
He's so dumb. Yeah, I don't know, like, I hope Butch, like, I don't know what Butch does, like, when he comes back, because I imagine he still works for Penguin. So I'm assuming that'll probably come back. Obviously Fish is not done, so we'll see how that shakes out. I wonder where Zaz's alignments will be.
It's a good question.
Because we didn't deal with Zaz at all during the finale, and he was like Falcone's like number 2 guy,
number 1 hitman.
Yeah, or number 1 hitman. I'm
and Justin's just sitting there. I know all.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil everything.
But yeah, maybe we'll have to come back and maybe do another Netflix and Kill once we finish up with Gotham season 2. Would you be down for that, Justin?
Is that a question? Of course I am.
Is that even a question?
Do I even want to answer that?
Like, but without a question left, I think we'll bring this episode to an end. Of course, you want to check out some of our other back catalog on Netflix and Kills, or just our regular episodes. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Maybe give us a review while you're there. Those 5-star reviews sure help us out. And even in that review box, I'll read whatever goes in that review box on the air word for word. That's my guarantee. You can even write in there, I don't know, write your own riddles and whatnot, and be your own Edward Nygma. I would love that. Otherwise, you can follow us at on our Facebook page, Unapologetic Geek Out on Facebook, or you can follow us on Twitter at UGO Podcast. Justin, where can the people find you?
Riddle me this. What man writes the Breakfast Pub notes every week for the subscription side of oneofus.net? Justin Zarian. That's who. You can find me there. I also do some hosting jobs. I recently hosted the last 2 episodes of Breakfast Pub, one of which with Nick Ties here. And
that's fun.
Otherwise, yeah, you'll find me on some of the shows there, and then I'm on Facebook and Twitter.
Great. And with that, until I think that this ham has been successfully got. We got this ham. We got ham. So with that, we are on Apology to Geek Out,
now.
and we're out.
I think we have ham.